When the Philadelphia 76ers signed Paul George to a 4-year, $211 million contract to pair him alongside Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, they were not expecting to be sitting at 4-14 and 14th place in the Eastern Conference 18 games into the season. But as of right now, that's where they sit. And right now, rookie Jared McCain has been outperforming Paul George. It's been very concerning watching Paul George on this team, and while he definitely isn't the only problem for the 76ers right now, there is a huge issue in Philadelphia because they invested over $50 million a year into Paul George to be that third star to help lead them over the hump, as they could see that this team had potential, but Joel Embiid hasn't been able to get it done by himself, and they were hoping that Paul George could help. But throughout the first 18 games of the season, he's been plagued with injuries, but even when he's been on the court and healthy, he's been atrocious. And if you look at his stats through the first 18 games, he's averaging 14.9 points, 5 rebounds, 4.8 assists on 38% shooting from the field and 27.8% shooting from the three-point line. And in the games that he's played, he hasn't made as big of an impact as they've needed him to. And especially with Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid missing extended periods of time throughout the early part of the season, they've needed him to step up. But the only player that has really stepped up for Philadelphia has been Jared McCain. And Tyrese Maxey has had his really good games, but he's also been injured a lot through the early part of the season. When a rookie is outperforming your $50 million per year signing, it is very concerning. And compared to Paul George, Jared McCain has averaged 16.5 points per game on much better shooting splits of 45% from the field and 37.5% from the three-point line. And for Paul George, this is an embarrassing look because you go from a place in LA with the Clippers that you were dubbed as Pandemic P, and lots of times was clowned on for his podcast and other things and his lame playoff performances. But now you come to Philadelphia where you're supposed to have a new start with a new big three, but you still can't get it done. And granted, it has only been 18 games of this season, but the same issues that followed him in LA are reoccurring here in Philadelphia. The injury issues, the lack of performance in the games that he does play, and it's very concerning for 76ers fans because you invested a lot of money into Paul George, and right now you have a lot of money tied up between Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, and Joel Embiid, and these guys are not getting any younger. Paul George is well into his 30s, Joel Embiid is 30 now, and while Tyrese Maxey is young and Jared McCain is young, you have Paul George and Joel Embiid on the books for a number of years to come. And if you can't get a lot out of them right now, it's very likely that this team will have to be in a very awkward position going forward, because when you have a guy in Paul George that will be 37 in the last year of this contract making $50 million, you don't have time to rebuild or the money to rebuild at all. But when that $50 million a year player is only scoring 14.9 points a game and is the fourth highest scorer on his own team, it is a concern that you have to look into. And this big three of Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, and Joel Embiid, 18 games in, has been one of the biggest disappointments of the entire NBA season and is another reason why big threes do not work in the NBA. And this team will have to turn it around, but it's going to be very hard as they're already so far behind in the Eastern Conference playoff race that even if they do sneak into the playoffs, it'll most likely be as a bottom seed, and they might even be stuck in the play-in this season. And with a three-man making this much money for the next 4 years, you have to consider the fact that this team might not go anywhere the next 4 years because of the money and the combination of talent on this team. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section below. God bless you all. Have an amazing day, and make sure to subscribe to the channel. God bless.